Hi guys, and welcome to episode 3 of my new YouTube series, How to Start a Successful Online Jewelry Business. Now in this episode we're going to be looking at the numbers. Now I know a lot of people are going to roll their eyes or start falling asleep at the thought of the numbers, but they are an extremely important part of making your business successful, because if you don't understand the numbers you can quickly find yourself losing money and going out of business. So in this we're going to be looking at how you can create enough profit to cover all of your costs. So what are the kind of costs that your business, especially your jewelry business, can incur? Well, you can have things like, the main ones are usually your workshop or your office costs, especially if you rent a unit or an office. This is going to be one of your largest expenses. But you've also got things like your website fees. How much does your website cost every month? How much do you pay for marketplace fees if you sell on eBay or Etsy? And there's also things like utilities. Do you have to pay extra for utilities for your workshop or your office? And last but not least, but one of the most important ones, is your insurance. This is going to cover your business, public liability, things like that. So your business is covered if anything does go wrong. So you need your profit margins to cover all of these costs. But how do you figure this out? And one of the questions I get asked most, especially from designer makers, is how do I figure out my cost price? Because when you're buying to resell, it's pretty easy to figure out your cost price. It's whatever you buy it from your supplier from. But when you're actually making it yourself, how do you figure out that cost? Well, there's a pretty simple and pretty easy formula for it. And what you do is you figure out the cost of your raw materials. So this might be your silver, your gold, your gemstones, anything that you've put into that piece. And then what you want to do is you want to figure out your labor cost that goes with that. And for that you want to take the number of hours you took to make the product, so say 5 hours for example, and then you want to multiply that by your hourly rate. Now this is something I know a lot of people struggle with, is charging the right amount for their time. But you do need to value your time, and there are websites out there that say how much self-employed craftspeople should charge per hour, and if I can find it I will leave the link in the description below. So let's use this example. So it's 5 hours it's taking you to make a piece, and let's say for example you charge £20 an hour for your time. So that's 5 times 20, so that's £100. So that's your labour fee. Then you add that to your raw material cost, and that gives you the cost price if you've made the piece yourself. So then you figured out your cost price, but how do you figure out your profit margins? Well, this is another formula. All the numbers come from accountants, and as somebody who started training to be an accountant, we do like formulas and we like to figure things out. So when we're talking about profit margins, what a lot of people you'll hear in the trade talk about is multipliers, and this can be a 2x multiplier, 2.3, 2.5. And what this means is it's the amount you times your cost price by. Say if your piece was cost £100 in total, if you're using a 2 times multiplier, your sale price would then be £200. If you're using a 2.5 multiplier, it'd be £250. And then we can start figuring out from that, once we've got your sales price, how much profit margin you're actually making on this. So how do we figure out your profit margin? Well, what we do is we take your cost price. So say in this example it's £100 multiplied by your multiplier. Now I do want to stress there is no set multiplier in the trade. A common one is around about a 2.3 multiplier, but it all depends on your market and your business, because each business is different and each business requires different profit margins to survive. So you want to figure out what works best for your business, and this might take a bit of playing around with figures to see which generates you not only a good profit margin, but also keeps your prices competitive as well, because you don't want to be too expensive so you're not getting sales, but you also don't want to be too cheap so that you're getting sales but your profit margin per product isn't covering your costs at the end of the month. So when it comes to figuring out your profit margin, what you want to do is you want to take your sales price, you want to minus your cost price from it, you then want to minus any transaction fees. Now these can be marketplace fees, so eBay fees, Etsy fees for example, and then any payment provider fees, so PayPal fees, Stripe fees, anything like that, and you combine them together to create your transaction fee. Then you want to minus your postage and packaging fee, and a lot of people seem to overlook the packaging costs when they're figuring out their profit margins. But you need to take everything into consideration, especially when you're starting out, because every penny matters. So you want to factor in things like your gift boxes, your postage boxes, postage bags, even down to silly things like each piece of paper or each packing slip you use, because then you know exactly where every penny is going. And it's simple things like this that can make a huge difference to your profit over the long run. So once you've figured out your postage and packaging price, you then minus that as well. And what you are left with is your profit margin per product. At this point, it's just a figure. But what you want to do is you want to convert that into a percentage, so you can figure out what your profit is as a percentage, because this is going to be easier to work out when you're figuring out if your profit margin is going to cover your costs. So say, for example, if all your fixed costs per month come to £500, if you're aiming for a 25% profit margin, you know you need to be selling at least £2,000 a month. And to start with, what you want to do is you just want to make sure that all your business costs are covered, because this is what's eventually going to drain all your money out of your bank if you're not covering these costs. As your business grows, you will find that these costs are easier to cover because you're going to be selling more jewelry, and then you can start paying yourself, and we all want to get paid. So that's what you need to be doing. In the first, I would say 6 to 12 months, you really just want to be looking at covering your costs on a monthly basis. Then once you're building your business up, once you're getting more customers, once you're getting more sales, then you're going to start having more disposable income within your business, so you can start paying yourself. And that is the most important thing. That's the goal that we all want to get to. I know we all love dealing with jewelry, but at the end of the day, we're all doing it to make money. And I hope this video has been helpful, and it has helped you understand, one, not only how to price your products, especially if you're a designer maker, but also how to figure out your profit margin and to figure out if that profit margin is going to cover all of your business's costs. So thank you all for watching. I really appreciate it. If you have enjoyed this video and you have learned something, I really would appreciate it if you hit that like button below and subscribe to the channel, because we're going to be releasing videos every week to do with this subject. I hope you all have a great week, have a great time, and I'll see you on the next video.